What's going on, my creative collective? Welcome to your daily creative reading for December 2nd. Let's hop in and see where this day takes us. Which ones do you want? I keep looking at these ones. We'll start with this one. All right. Spirit, what messages do you have for my daily creatives? Messages from my daily creatives. And incidentally, also Capricorn. Now, funny story, I did this reading already, and the audio was just, it did not work. So, this is round 2. So, Spirit, what messages do you have for my daily creatives, please? The winged wise ones. Angelic help, miraculous aid. Some miracles afoot. The hawk prince. Wow. So the winged wise ones and the hawk prince. Spirit communication and paying attention. Birds may be a sign at some point today or in the coming days. Whoa. Lady of the Mirror, reflection and non-judgment. I feel like there's going to be a lot of signs and synchronicities making their way to you, and it is a time of deep connection for you. Let's see where this takes us for the daily creative spread. What messages do you have for my daily creative, Spirit? Messages for my daily creatives. On this, the winged wise ones, or the winged wise ones, angelic help, miraculous aid, and the hawk prince, spirit communication, paying attention, reflection, non-judgment. I almost feel like there could be epiphanies that come to you at the same moment as certain synchronicities happen, or they will facilitate it. But it's the moment, it's the moments, the epiphanies are less about what you realize or think of, and they're far more, in my opinion, with the way it's coming through here, it's more about the energy that it's like what you realize along the way, or it's how do I word this? It isn't the realization that is something to pay attention to. It's the synchronicity, but it's what occurs to you at those moments. Like I'm not explaining it well, but the download is more important than the synchronicity. Thank you, Spirit. So the call to adventure is the King of Wands. I feel like this is kind of getting in touch with your passions, I should say. But this is also like master creative, creative mastery, like a master of your craft, I guess. Or, but I think that this is definitely standing in your power, but specifically your creative power, and also this is a little bit of leadership. So you could be being called to take the lead with something. To take the next step, to take, I want to say a leap, but I don't see the Fool here yet. And then the part of the refusal energy is the Lovers. So we have the Lovers card here as part of this refusal energy, which is Gemini energy. So it's the refusal to me is like obstacles that can get in our way. Some obstacles that can pop up or get in our way. What other messages do you have for my daily creative spirit? So we have the Lovers, choice. It's almost like maybe there's like too many choices, or maybe you feel like there aren't enough. Yeah, or making choices too quickly without necessarily, that can be a big obstacle, where it's like part of the refusal is like, it's like self-sabotage. Thank you, Spirit. Yeah, it's like self-sabotage, right? This with the Lovers card, because there's decisions that you make too quickly. The victory is here, but it's also that it's like you're leaping. It's not leaping to victory necessarily, but it's like, what kind of victory are you holding? Is it your truth? Ace of Swords on the bottom. That tells me that that's also the truth too. Like that there's something here about some self-sabotage, perhaps related to choices, and you need to take better leadership, or take the lead in a way that empowers you more thoroughly, or more fully, more completely. Thing that could become a Tower if it goes unchecked, the Hierophant. You could have Taurus in your chart where something could be activated related to this energy here. I almost get this being like non-committal, like, because I feel like the King of Wands is the call to adventure is committing. It is committal energy, but this is kind of non-committal energy. It's more non-committal energy. This is your best bet. It's almost like boredom, like this, like letting your mind rest. Like boredom is kind of like mental rest, in my opinion. It's showing up as your protagonist energy because it tells you a little bit of something, right? And I think this isn't disenchantment, but this is more so taking a step back and I think this is boredom is often an opportunity for us to take a step back and to see what's right in front of us that we may otherwise overlook. And I think it's also just a time. I think it's such a, I don't know, it's a little bit of a creative thing. And I think that to know yourself as the King of Wands, you have to understand yourself in that state of boredom. And who are you when you're not constantly like overstimulated or stimulated, like there's not something going on, right? So Spirit, what messages do you have for, whoa, quite a few. The antagonist energy, we have the Chariot. So Cancerian energy could be Cancerian energy, or a Cancer that you're dealing with. But the Three of Pentacles showed up, which is super interesting to me because it's maybe there's like, I'm getting a lack of clarity in the context of the Four of Cups and the Hierophant. It's like a lack of clarity about what you want. King of Wands is going to work against you in terms of moving towards something that makes your heart sing, the Chariot, right? And I think that it's not just about you getting clear, but also clarity of boundaries. Like it's clarity of boundaries because that creates the container within which your creations can thrive, right? It's not just about that survival. Sagittarius had that energy. You might have Sag in your chart somewhere, but it's not just about survival, generally speaking, but this is more so about creative cultivation. Yes, on the one hand, but something that's possibly going to stick around for the long term. And maybe that part of the Tower is believing that it won't, right? Part of the Tower is believing that it won't. Because maybe you are feeling bored. Maybe you feel like, and sometimes boredom can come because we're tired. We're tired and we're not allowing ourselves to express that emotion. And not just the emotion of tired, but maybe the embodiment of tired too. Like we're not allowing ourselves to express that fully. Then we have the World as the main challenge to overcome. I think there's a cycle that you might be putting to end here about your personal power, empowerment. Seeing the forest for the trees, Hanged Man. This is also this is Piscean energy as well in the 12th house, which is a bit of the illusion energy, right? The things that, and also some escapism. So you could be like, it's like how you would run from the things that you would want the most, for whatever reason. We can get more into that. But I feel like this is like how you would take a step back and you would see that it's like taking a step back and seeing what's right for you. We have Justice and the Ace of Swords. Yeah, what's right for you. So... And maybe this was a key act of creation for you. Like it was a point of creation, not without success either. This is what you're waking up to, is that this is a path to success for you. It is something that lights you up in terms of lights the path up as well. Oh, that's the overcoming. Do you want this? Yeah, no, here. Okay. So we're pulling the overcoming card so the main challenge is this cycle. And I feel like it's a cycle that's been around for a while, I'm getting. And I feel like I think it has more to do with your internal understanding of your creative self, your creative capacity. This could be a career change as well, slightly. Like just a tweak. Could be a slight career change. One that I think has taken a long time. It's been a long time coming. Like it might look quick to people on the outside, but it's something that's been it's been a long time coming. I feel like there is a lot of divine wisdom surrounding you, which then also incidentally means that there's a great deal of it within you. So I think it's really about there's wisdom surrounding you, because I think that what's on the outside you may not have been able to trust. 10 of Wands and 7 of Swords. 10 of Wands can be more our energy in the context of things like a 7 of Swords situation where it depleted us. But I feel like the overcoming, wow, that's beautiful. Look at this. Okay. So, if this is part of I think the overcoming is seeing what's on the outside versus what's on the inside, specifically where wisdom is concerned. There's wisdom hard earned from experiences, but then there's a specific wisdom from within. And that's where these creative ideas are going to start to flow. Ace of Wands, Magician. That's where this kind of creative, I guess I want to say sparks, capacities, they're going to start to come to the fore more so. Creative capacities will expand from what I see, but... yeah, it's maybe you were feeling a little bit, there was like a tension here. And I feel like there was I think maybe some conflict with different projects you might have been working on. And I feel a little bit like I want to say you're wising to this in terms of the conflict and how it would deplete you, right? Because I feel like this energy is one of depletion, and that's you're remedying that for sure right now. So you're coming to understand that there is healing that's taking place. Yeah, Death card and the Two of Cups. Whoa, there we go. Death card and the Two of Cups. There's healing that's taking place, and you're beginning to see this with much greater clarity. And I think you're able to see it more clearly for the right reasons. It's not clarity that comes after this intense storm, right? I see it as just you're deciding. It's like a quick decision. Again, quick decision on the outside, but make sure that it's one that's coming from an honest place and not a self-sabotaging place, so that you don't kind of push yourself further away from whatever victory it is you seek. Eight of Pentacles. Yeah. It's almost like that could be part of your craft. There could be, I don't know why that's coming across as training. You could be undergoing training that's going to help you to achieve a specific end. Then we have the Eight of Wands. And I feel like whatever it is that's coming through these in terms of messages and whatnot, I think this is also just an accelerated pace, because we can tell that, conflict can slow you down because it's the conflict itself, but then the need to rest after the fact and to refill sort of your cup and to heal more. And then I see this Eight of Pentacles and Eight of Wands, and that to me it's about like an acceleration of like again, it's coming across as training, like catching on to something really quickly. So if this is a new role you're starting, I think you're going to be catching on quickly. So it's about not necessarily having confidence in what you know yet, because that's building, but having confidence in your ability to handle whatever comes your way. So I think that's going to be really important, my lovelies. Yeah, let me I'm going to pull from the Notes from the Universe deck to close this reading out. All there is to love has been there all along. And it's almost coming across as like the conflict here could be you're fighting yourself. Maybe you feel a little bit like you can't do it, or you're counting the reasons why something won't work. And this is just kind of reiterating or emphasizing that, everything that you will come to understand about the gifts and skills that are coming to the fore for you through that is evidenced by this reading. I think that you'll see that they've been there all along, but it took you seeing things slightly differently. And I get the impression that it's going to kick off with a couple synchronicities, or there could be synchronicities that bring this information to you. Fortuitous is the word that just went to mind. Fortuitous. Time for a love fest. I feel like it's reminding me of a rampage of appreciation for Abraham Hicks. Finding things to really like make a list of like 25 things that you really appreciate about your day, or something that happened to you, or where you are, that kind of idea. And yeah, so that's your reading, my darling daily creatives. This was very straightforward. It's very like to the point and bam, bam. So Capricorn, your reading starts now. So let's dive in and see where we go for you. I'm hearing direction. Directional. Directional. We have the Wizard of Awareness, Field of Dreams. So Wizard of Awareness and the Field of Dreams and Storm Fields. This is almost coming across as the Magician energy in terms of the overcoming. Like there could have been a lot happening with this Storm Fields card, where it's like it was easier to just be lost in that 12th house energy, right? It's easier to be lost in that. And maybe that was you getting to a place. This is where I'm hearing segment intending, which is an Abraham Hicks term as well. But the idea is that you don't plan ahead. You think into where you want to go next. So you think into it, or visualize into it and declare into it and intend into it. This is what is going to happen for this next segment of the day, this next segment of where I'm headed, what I'm doing next. And I think that when you step into that energy, what's happening is you increase the odds of experiencing that because of the law of attraction, yes, but also you increase the odds of experiencing that because you're leaning into something higher, and you're allowing the field of possibilities to open up rather than declaring based on what's right in front of you. I almost get the sense too that like I'm hearing where you are is where you were. Where you are is where you were. And I feel a little bit like that's like it's almost like your sense of home has shifted. If not home, then I feel like there's a sense of home within yourself that's opening up because you've been doing so much visualizing or meditating, and just paying attention to what you want as opposed to what is. Because while that can be productive to an extent, it sort of helps you to think outside the box of where you are and open up to the possibilities around you instead of, saying, well, that won't work because this hasn't happened yet. That won't work because this is this way. So it's really opening things up differently. Details, and there's clarity. So brilliant, right? I got that impression here where it was like needing to be more clear with yourself too. This could just be, tighten up your manifesting skills, Capricorn. This could just be about doing that because, it looks like there's a lot of work that you're good with the work piece, the 8 of Pentacles and the 8 of Wands. You're good with that aspect of things, but it looks like it's just about tightening up. It's about tightening up the manifesting powers and tightening up visualization and all of those things. So, whoops. And then we have slow and steady. There you go. This is almost prescriptive. This is very, very instructive too. Yeah. And the thing is that when you're very clear, you have the luxury of going slow and steady because you're very clear about what's happening. You're very clear about the messages that need to come through for you. You're very clear about where you're going, even if the whole path isn't confirmed yet or laid out perfectly yet. You see something here about where you are and where you want to go in the details. And that's almost what I'm seeing. I'm seeing a hawk fly over a road. And I'm seeing that where it's like bird's eye view, right? Like pulling back. And that's where it's like the pulling back to see the details. Pulling back because the big picture will give you information or critical, perspective about the details that, taken together. So let's clarify this here. What messages do you have for my daily creatives, please? And my Capricorns by virtue of this reading. Capricorn. So we have the 2 of Wands and the Star. Maybe you were, this is like, wow, several things are going through my head. It's a failure to plan or a plan to fail. A failure to plan or a fail to plan or there's some saying like that. It's like, but it's jumbled up. Like you might hear it in passing. But I think too that this is your ability to visualize more creatively, to visualize more options for yourself, to open up. It's almost like your field of dreaming. Yeah, and that's where this Wizard of Awareness, I think that's what your superpower is right now, Capricorn. So it's about stepping into that and in the details. Like, for example, I was thinking about an apartment before I moved to this one, which is lovely, and I love it so much. But before I did that, I was thinking about what it would mean to put things into a linen closet or to, I would visualize walking through a kitchen or just those little things that would make home. And like the mundane stuff. It wasn't the specifics, it was the mundane. And what really struck me as interesting was the fact that it's like going into those details seems counterintuitive because how do you know that the specifics will play out in that exact way? And do you limit yourself and all of these things like da. But what it did was it opened so much more up because it freed up my energy just to focus on those little things. What would that feel like? These little bits, right? So, and then on Field of Dreams, we have the Hermit. And maybe I'm getting that there's like maybe a part of the dreams that you have or something that you want that it's like you've been kind of keeping it to yourself because it's been a source of wisdom for you. It's been a source of wisdom, and it's like you're hanging on to it really tightly. And I feel like you're hanging on to it quite tightly. And it's not a bad thing that you're doing that, because I'm seeing a 4 of Pentacles. It's like you're holding on to it quite tightly. Not in a way, because it's not in a way that is intended to convey lack through the grip. But what it's demonstrative of here is that there's wisdom in sharing that with other people. Knight of Cups. Ace of Cups. Yeah, it's not just you sharing this. It's like spirit sharing something through you. You could be channeling. Stormfield. Spirit, can you clarify this for me here? I could be talking to someone who has more of a spiritual inclination towards things like channeling or healing. Even writing, though, or singing, like spirit works through all of that. Creative work in any capacity is kind of like a form of channeling, right? Okay. So we have the Hanged Man and the Page of Swords. So Stormfield's Hanged Man, Page of Swords. I almost feel like this is like a bit of hesitation. Like instead of taking action, it's like the messages that you've been getting have been, there's like a lot of, like, it's almost like a fear of, not failure, but like a fear of not having the answer, a fear of needing the answer with the learning energy and the curiosity here. It's like, I'm getting the energy that you didn't know. Like there was something you felt like you didn't know. And you don't need to know everything. You just need to know enough. 6 of Swords. Like you just need to know enough. Yeah, 6 of Swords, 6 of Wands. What's the information in the details here for Capricorn Spirit? Information in the details. Temperance. All in good time on the one hand, but I also get that this, I was thinking today while I was driving, and I had this kind of like drop in that like, patience isn't just about time. It's not just about waiting. It's not just about being in like a waiting room, right? It's not like that. Patience is also about how much grace we give ourselves. How much room are you giving yourself to breathe, to dream, to create, to fail, to fly, all those things, because they're all necessary components of this King of Wands call to adventure. And the 4 of Wands is on the slow and steady. Yeah, that's like, I feel like Capricorn, that's where I think the best way through is with this sense of stability for yourself. The best way through is a slower pace, because it's going to create a sense of stability through which you can create. And it's almost like this is like foundation, like you're building a solid foundation for your creations to take flight. And that's really important, I think. Whoa, a lot of cards came out here. So we have Justice, the Queen of Cups, and the 4 of Swords. Yeah. It's like, I'm getting this as like healing emotional interference. Or something was running emotional. It was like running interference and playing with your emotions. And I think that's coming to a close, because that, I feel like it was impacting your ability to feel stable in what it is that you want to create or do. So I almost feel like this emotional interference, it's like 10 of Pentacles on the bottom, but I feel like you're getting a greater sense of control of your emotions, not because you want to ignore them. It's nothing like that. This is more of a sense of looking at your emotions through the lenses of informative, source of information, informative. So you're pulling information from them as opposed to identifying with them. And I feel like that's what's kind of coming through here. Yeah, and that's exactly what it is. Yeah. That's how, it's almost like you're breaking your heart before your ideas even have a chance to get off the ground with them, because you're like, well, I don't know if that's going to work. I don't know. And so it stops you in your tracks. So Capricorn, I think that's the big message here, is to have a little bit more faith, to hold on to the big picture of what you want to create, even if you're like, going from one job to the other, even if this is about creating something like an apartment or a house or a car, or I'm thinking of the big things that people would typically associate with this kind of manifesting, but right down to the small: relationship, friendships, connections, peace, that kind of idea. It runs the gamut. Input whatever it is that you're thinking here, right? But I'm getting that you're learning something really important about your manifestations and the ways that interference you maybe thought came from the outside in the form of conflict. But I'm thinking, based on what I'm seeing here in the cards, that there's this emotional interference that you were trying to interrupt. And I'm hearing pattern interrupt. So it could have been a pattern with the World card as the main challenge. I am inclined to believe that that is the case, Capricorn. But it could have been an emotional pattern that was kind of wreaking havoc a little bit. Yeah, I just get that it was wreaking a little bit of havoc. And you deserve better. Okay, so let's pull from the Miracles Now deck to close this out for you, Capricorn. This was a very straightforward reading. It's quite short compared to the other ones, but it's very direct, which I'm a fan of. When in doubt, I choose to see peace. I feel like this is also a call to take the big picture, to take the bigger view, to take the bird's eye view, right? I share my light with the world. Like that. I feel like this is possibly like a creative project or creations that you're working on. Could be a book. I've just been seeing a lot of authors that I follow posting about new books, and that's been on my mind. This could be about grant applications. I could be talking to artists, specifically with the creative energy and the King of Wands. There could be an exhibition that you have applied to be part of. It could be that. I'm hearing call for submissions. That could be something you're looking at in terms of even journals. One more, Spirit. Sleep is a spiritual practice. Heck yes. Heck yes. Yeah, sleep is kind of how it's what facilitates the body's ability to do its best work, creatively speaking, right? Don't neglect your sleep. We can't always control whether we wake up or things like that, but taking note as well, right? Did you go to sleep with something on your mind? Have you written it out in a to-do list? Have you released it completely? So I am lovable. The less I love myself, the harder it is for others to love me. The more I love myself, the easier it is for others to love me and for me to recognize how loved I am. It's like cyclical, right? But it starts with you first making that declaration. And sometimes it's about understanding that we're lovable enough to, you don't have to earn your good. You deserve good, period, right? So that's part of that equation too. And when that applies to creative work, what that can mean is that you don't get caught up in this cycle, and it is a cycle. You don't get caught up in this cycle of expecting good to happen and then sitting back and going, where the hell is my stuff, right? And because it can be disconnected, that can be a form of self-sabotage that's actually coming through quite strong, where you focus on the stuff as opposed to the quality of life and the quality of person that you're going to be in the in-between. So this is the pattern interrupt is what I'm hearing. This is the pattern interrupt where it's stopping. It needs to, and that's where it's like time for a love fest. So I think that gratitude is going to be, my third eye, just like the pain shooting through. That's intense. The gratitude list, I think, is going to be very important. It's going to be really important to connecting to this lovability piece, and for you to see that all there is to love has been there all along, in so much that what you see when you get into a state of gratitude, it's not this weird abstract thing. You're seeing something that has always been there, but you're seeing it perhaps for the first time. So it's also appreciating it with a sense of wonder and playfulness too, right? It's allowing yourself the joy of that, the joy of playfully recognizing who you are for the first time. Holy smoke, that's amazing, right? That's amazing. So it's about leaning into that energy too. And it's just, since I've transitioned, there are times where like I've seen people and they see me for the first time and they go bright red, and it's not even about attractiveness or anything like that. It's just this recognition where you can tell that they're like, holy shit, there you are. Right? Like, it's like people see the joy that I get to experience in my body being me. And it's such an amazing thing for trans folks. And I really, really love that. I love that I get to see it and experience it, but more than that, it's like, that's how spirit sees you sometimes too. Like, there you are, you've been there the whole time, right? I've been waiting for you to realize it. And it's these little epiphanies that like shift and then shift again. So yeah. Brilliant. So good. Capricorn, that is your reading. If this resonated, please do give it a like and subscribe. I'd love to have you on the channel if you're not here already. But if you are, thank you so much for joining for my subscriber base. And as always, wherever this finds you on the time-space continuum, morning, afternoon, or night, I hope it finds you very, very well, my friends. Take care.